sheath. And remember, that just means like a sheet of something, okay? Surrounds the spinal cord and gets separated by the vertebrae and something called the epidural space. So if you go back to one of your pictures, it kind of shows you, which once again, I wish I could, you know, like have a little thing to enlarge this. But do you kind of see where they've got this orange running right here? And this being those meninges, okay? The little part that would exist is called the epidural space. Have you ever heard of anything with the term epidural?
I had one.
Had one?
Yeah.
Me too. What did they do? Or what happened because they did it?
It just numbs the body.
It makes it numb. And it's usually referred to because it's used at the time of birth, okay? And then some people who have really severe back problems can go and get one, okay? And it's just a way to go in, manipulate those nerves, and deaden them so that there's no pain, no feeling. We're going to see that with the arachnoid area, as we have that membrane adhering to the outer one, which is the dura, the separation between dura and pia, in which the arachnoid exists, there are fibers that show up. And they literally look like spider webs. And that's why it was termed the arachnoid. So the area, that's the space. We have an area just a little below called subarachnoid. But look what's found. Cerebrospinal fluid. What is important about CSF? This is the fluid that is constantly moving. We constantly produce it. It returns, we'll go over the process. But the cerebrospinal fluid, it gets to wash over all of this nervous tissue. And it's another way that it helps nourish and get rid of some waste and stuff too of the nervous tissue, brain and spinal cord, because it washes around all of it. So the cerebrospinal fluid. Anyone ever had to have a lumbar puncture? No, I haven't either. I hear they're very painful.
Yeah, patient, but like I've worked with them. That's kind of get a lumbar puncture like every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
For how long?
I don't know if she's had it last week. Yeah, no, she has some sort of bacteria.
So she's got bacterial infection and they're trying to identify the bacteria. Wow. Okay. I can't imagine having to have that done every day.
Would you get an epidural if you're having a spinal tap?
Not that I know of. I think the only thing they do, you know how like if anybody ever had like a cortisone injection? Like in their knee or their elbow or shoulder, huh?
What does that do for the cortisone injection? Anti-inflammatory, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't it like an
It's an anti-inflammatory. So people usually they'll inject into areas of joint, okay? And the goal is anytime there's inflammation in the body, okay, it usually leads to pain, diseases, disorders, that sort of thing. And people who like maybe injure their knees, injure their shoulders, whatever the case might be, one of the things that usually gets to be a first option for treatment, depending on the severity, I would say, is like they'll say, well, we can do a cortisone injection. All right? And with the lumbar puncture, and they're going in to actually pull some of this fluid off, they probably do like they do with the cortisone injections. They have like this really cold spray that'll like just deaden that area of the skin.
So it's lemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's my understanding they don't really get any type of pain
Sure.
stuff.
Athletes and the people who do a lot of physical activities get those cortisone.
The cortisone injections, yeah, which are not good. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned to y'all Tuesday, I recently had my hand surgery. And because of what was wrong with my hand, of course, the first thing they wanted to do was shoot me up with cortisone. Well, because I know the effects of cortisone, I mean, I'm standing there arguing with the doctor. You know, he's like, let's do this. And I'm going, no, you're not. I said, the only option for me is you go in and fix it. You're not doing the cortisone on me. It's not happening. So, you know, surgery. So I would imagine with lumbar puncture, but I mean, yeah, from what I understand, they're very painful. So the CSF, very important. We're going to learn some more about that. Now, this PIA, the one that is going to follow the actual contours, like the grooves and everything, when that part of the dura, arachnoid, and so forth, well, for the protection coming through the cauda equina portion, we'll still see the PIA, okay? That one will follow these contours and eventually end up at a very final piece, and it's kind of being represented right here. Like I said, it's very difficult for you guys to see, but you'll see this one piece that's extending down, down, and down, and it will eventually end. And it's called the terminal phylum. And it forms or fuses with dura for that coccygeal ligament. Now, if you know anything about the coccyx bone, okay, that's the very ending. Those bones fuse as you're growing and becoming an adult, and it's that very, very inferior portion after the sacral area. So, if we look at a cross section, which I used to have one of those in here, I'm going to have this here too, but here we go. Let's say we got to make transverse cut straight through the spinal cord that we got to go pew and got to look down into it. Okay? This is what you see. All right? So this kind of showing gray matter, white matter, rootlets, nerve, protective tissue wrappings. This is a really old model, okay? So, but it's still representative. The gray, white, rootlets, protective, and then of course nerve, exiting. With the gray, white, rootlets, nerve, exiting, protective tissue wrappings. Gray, white, rootlets, that nerve, exiting, tissue wrappings, and then gray. Okay? Gray, white, rootlets, that are exiting, nerve, and tissue wrappings. So, that's the view that we have. If you remember, I mentioned we have gray matter, we have white matter. White matter tells us that we have our myelinated axons, okay? The gray matter is unmyelinated. Now, this is the structure of the tissue in the spinal cord, all right? So, this gray, and it sort of looks like a butterfly. Some people say butterfly, some people say like the letter H, that sort of thing. But that would extend the entire length of that spinal cord. And the white matter would be around it, going the entire length of the spinal cord. Now, couple of things I want you to note about this structure. If you look at the structure, these are my spinal nerves that are exiting out, okay? They kind of look like a bump is present. We're going to find that we have something called posterior root ganglion. Let's take the term apart. Posterior. Which side?
Back.
Back. Okay? Does anybody know what a ganglion is? You've probably heard the term. You know, somebody might have had like a ganglion on their wrist or something like that. For our purposes, when we hear the term ganglion, bring to mind an area that is very dense with nerve cell bodies. I'm going to repeat that because you need to know that. A ganglion is an area that is very dense with nerve cell bodies.
So a sensitive cluster, sensitive bump.
Very big, huge bump, and a whole bunch of nerve cell bodies. Wait a minute. What other parts of my nerve cell exist?
The dendrites and the axons.
The dendrites and the axons. Where's my axons?
The tail.
Reaching around to the rest of the body.
Reaching around to the rest of the body, to their target tissue. Hold up. Wait. Hold up. Hold up. You're telling me that I could have an axon that long? That if I go pow with my toe?
It would be a collection of nerve cells all the way down. With
Believe it or not, we can have axons
that long. I
Now
would've-
tell me that's not cool.
I would have thought that it would have been a bunch of nerve cells just in a row, in a line all the way down to the next spot.
Okay, I did too. Until I actually got to see the surgeon. He got to see that stuff cut open. I'm sorry. Okay, you got to see that stuff cut open. You get to see that nerve. Wow! And then they're plucking it like a guitar string. Yes, it's the reason